Novak Djokovic comes back from the dead and beats Cerundolo in 5 sets in the 4th round of the 2024 French Open. Now, if you want the short story of this match, this is how it goes. Djokovic was hurt, down 2 sets to 1, could barely move. It looked like the match was over. He was down 4-2 in the 4th set, and then miraculously he came back and found his best level and won in 5 sets. So naturally, if you don't know the context and you go on social media, Instagram for example, or YouTube, you're going to read thousands of comments where Djokovic is being accused of delivering an Oscar-worthy performance. So people are saying that Djokovic faked an injury. Now there's no way for us to know whether he did or not. In my opinion, he did not, because I base my opinion on what I observed in the match. So the long story of the match goes the following way. First of all, we have to take into account that Djokovic finished at 3 a.m. and played for 4.5 hours in the previous round. And he only had 30-something hours rest between his 3rd round match and his 4th round match. So Djokovic comes out, wins the first set 6-1. And then at 2-1 in the 2nd set, he calls an injury timeout, and there was something wrong with his knee. So think about this logically. Don't you think Djokovic would want to win this match 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, something like that? Get off the court as quickly as possible? Or do you think it's in Djokovic's best interest to win the first set 6-1, then fake an injury, go down 2 sets to 1 and a break in a 4th, to then start playing for real and look like the hero at the end of the match? I'm telling you, this makes 0 sense, and there's no way that Djokovic faked an injury. He did something to his knee. Now, if you watch one of my rants around the Miami tournament, you know that Andy Murray tore ligaments in his ankle deep in the 3rd set against Machac. And Andy somehow continued to play this match with torn ligaments in his ankle, and he was able to run. So injuries in the game of tennis can be very mysterious sometimes, because we're dealing with adrenaline, and often if you hurt something, the pain can miraculously go away. This is a real thing. Now, how does Djokovic play? I think this is one of Djokovic's best matches in 2024. If we just look at the 1st set, and if we look at the 5th set, this was some of the best tennis that Djokovic has played this year. Cerundolo played an amazing match. However, in that stretch where Djokovic was injured, maybe due to his injury, he didn't play well. He let some balls go and didn't run him down. He was playing serve and volley, which is a tactic that often works for him, especially in the US Open final against Medvedev, but he would serve and volley and not make an attempt to actually get the volley. Djokovic was also having trouble with his backhand. It's quite possible that he injured his right knee and couldn't really load on the backhand. He was committing a lot of backhand mistakes. And interestingly, Djokovic was moonballing a lot of backhands. So up 2 sets to 1 and 4-2, Cerundolo made a mistake, or I'm assuming that he made a mistake because I don't know. But one thing that I'm sure the players are aware of is that you never want to underestimate an injured Djokovic. We've all seen Djokovic completely exhausted, red in the face, looking like he's going to pull out of a match and then miraculously come back and win matches in 5 sets or tough 3 sets. So generally in tennis, this is especially important for you guys at the recreational level, or maybe if you're a junior player watching, is that when your opponent looks down and out and injured, you're gonna have to play at 100% intensity and not let up. See, what naturally happens with players when you're up in a match and see that your opponent is struggling physically or maybe even mentally, that you already have the match won. In your head, you let your foot off the gas a little bit, and all of a sudden the opponent comes back and now you're in a tight match and you end up losing. Now, of course, players at the elite level are aware of this, and this is one of those things that's easier said than done, but Cerundolo definitely should have put that match away up 4-2 in the 4 sets and 2 sets to 1. He made a couple of loose errors. He allowed Djokovic to hold serve at 4-2, which was a mistake. He should have made that a competitive game, try really hard to get an insurance break and make Djokovic work to hold his serve, but he didn't. Djokovic held quite easily, and then at 4-3, Djokovic tried really hard to get the break, and he got the break. Now, one thing I will say about Djokovic, and it's something that I've often talked about, the fact that he screams and gets angry. and is able to focus on the next point and play his best tennis? Well, in today's match, there was something weird. Djokovic was up 2-love in the 5th set and up 30-love, and he was playing unbelievable tennis. If you saw that game where he broke to go up 2-love, he hit some of the most unbelievable backhands, and I'm going to talk about Djokovic's backhand in a second. So Djokovic loses the point at 30-love, and all of a sudden he starts screaming towards his box, loses the next point. Now it's 30-all. He's screaming again and loses the next point, and he's angry and screaming. So in this instance, the screaming didn't help, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to get angry when you're up, especially when you pretty much lost the match 20 minutes prior. Now you were up a break in the 5th and 30-love on your serve, and you're getting angry. So that didn't help Djokovic, and he actually got broken in that game, and the 5th set got tight again because Cerundolo held serve. It was 2-all, but then Djokovic played some of the best tennis I've seen him play in 2024. And back to the backhand, Djokovic went from hitting absolutely horrendous backhands for his level. I regard Djokovic as having the best two-handed backhand in the history of tennis, but he was making a lot of mistakes off that wing, and he was moonballing two-handed backhands. Of course, this could be related to his leg injury. But fast forward 15 to 20 minutes, and Djokovic was hitting unbelievable backhands, where before Cerundolo was getting a lot of points hitting to the backhand side. Now the backhand side of Djokovic was rock solid. There was no going through there for Cerundolo. And not only was Djokovic steady, he was able to hit some unbelievable winners off his backhand wing. But it's not only that. In my opinion, Djokovic has one of the most underrated forehands in the history of the game. His forehand is unbelievably versatile. He is, of course, maybe the most consistent player in the history of tennis. But he also has the option to start going aggressive on his forehand, flatten it out. And one play that Djokovic was using a lot today that I quite frankly don't see from a lot of other players is the serve and swing volley. So Djokovic was serving volleying quite a bit in this match, but it was a combo of serving and then the returner popping the ball up high and Djokovic hitting a swing volley from around the half court. This play worked really well for Djokovic. So looking forward to the quarterfinal against Ruud. I picked Ruud to beat Djokovic. And here's the thing, guys. If Djokovic plays the way he played 4-all in the 4th set and the 5th set, he's going to smoke Ruud off the court. If Djokovic plays the way he's been playing in some of the matches this year, or for 2.5 sets today, if there's something wrong with his knee, Ruud absolutely has a chance to win. So if Djokovic plays his best tennis, not only is it going to be tough for Ruud, but it's going to be tough for anybody in this tournament. As I said in my video yesterday, it's one thing trying to beat Djokovic best out of 3 sets, but it's a whole nother thing winning 3 sets against this guy in a Grand Slam tournament. As we saw today, this is something that's very difficult to do, if not impossible at certain times.